What's up, YouTube? This is Zach Swan, Zach Attack, aka Vitamin Dread, back for another Ultra Sun Ultra Moon team building exercise. Hopefully gonna get these out every week. I'm already way behind with the first one, but I also wanted to give a little update on my last video. If you haven't checked out my last team building video, it is on my channel. And I built a team, as you can see. This is the team that I built last time around Mega Camerupt, which is a very underrated Pokemon. I have to say, I had a lot of fun creeping up the ladder with this team. It did max out at about 1500. I did have to make some changes to it too, and I'm still improving it. So, you know, if you check out the video, leave a comment if you have any suggestions. One thing that I will tell you I did do, and hopefully I will get around to eventually putting in some replays, but one thing that I did do that I can tell you is I did take away Tepu Bulu. This was kind of a hard decision for me to make because it was so much fun, you know, getting up grassy terrain and then being able to power back with nature power. If someone switches out or switches in Keldeo to Camerupt or something, then they're just one hit KO'd by Camerupt unexpectedly, which is just so awesome. But I realized that a lot of those teams also run Tapu Koko, in which nature power turns into Thunderbolt, which is really good, again, also for Toxapex. So I just ended up going with whatever kind of terrain my opponent would want to set out there every once in a while, and then I replaced Tapu Bulu with Kartana. Swords Dance, Life Orb, Kartana as my just general wall breaker, or my general stall breaker. I have enough power on my team, and you know, I haven't really tried Trick Room on this team yet. I could go back and do a Trick Room team, maybe get rid of Greninja and have another Trick Room setter or something like that. But yeah, this was my team from last time, and I wanted to jump in right to a new team. If you saw my tabs up there, you probably have an idea what I'm going for, and that is Jellicent. Usually when I build a team again, I want to start with one particular Pokemon that I like, or that is maybe unique, or maybe not very common, and see if it has any viability in standard. Now, I know a lot of these have already been used in the hundreds of thousands, millions of battles in SM. You know, some people watching might already know, hey, listen, Jellicent is not viable in standard. Well, if that's the case, then feel free to leave me a comment on my team. But basically what I did was, and what I always do is I look at the top listed Pokemon by usage. I think this is actually 1500 on the ladder, which is where I am right now because of the last team. And so you look and see what type of Pokemon everybody's using. Again, of course, Lando is on every team. It's on so many teams, I still think it should be banned. Tapu Koko is on a lot of teams. Ash Greninja, these are the guys you absolutely have to plan for. There's also the Viability Rankings on the Smogon website, and I'll go ahead and post the links to all those in case we might have new team builders out here. But just for the sake of the video, I am assuming that everybody knows the basics of Pokemon battling, what the types are, what types are good against what, the abilities, what stab means, you know, what super effective coverage means, all that stuff. So Jellicent, again, is just a really cool Pokemon that I wanted to use, mostly because of its typing. It has two pretty awesome, actually three pretty awesome immunities in normal, fighting, and water. Normal is not a very common attacking type, and it's also not a very common defensive type in standard. However, fighting is, again, not very common, but Jellicent is so good at shutting down fighting types. Now, I chose a little bit different of an EV spread. This is UU based on usage. The idea behind Jellicent, or my idea, and I think the general idea that when you use Jellicent in battle, I remember when it was standard back in Black and White, the Gen 5 days, when it first came out, it was basically used to spread status with Will-O-Wisp or Toxic or Scald, or both, and taunt any stall Pokemon or any stall type teams. Now, Jellicent isn't super fast, but it's a little bit faster than some slow, bulky, or even if it's not bulky, just very big offensive threats that it can still counter. I think probably the slowest stall or anything that would be involved in a stall team, I think, or the fastest, excuse me, is probably Heatran, which Jellicent does a pretty good job of taking care of anyway. But Heatran is usually at about 200, 201 speed, and that is also to battle out Mega Mawile and Adamant Tyranitar, Adamant Mega Mawile, most Adamant Mega Mawiles. So I actually am going to use Jellicent. Check out the Poke Calculator. This is another link I'll provide in the description, this page, if you don't know it already. And I am going to have a physically defensive type, but I'm going to up my speed to about 201. So we need to get to 180. Okay. Oh, okay, we can just do it right here then. Jellicent. And I like to also make it not obvious that my team was built around this. Some players, when they play, in my opinion, online, if battling on the ladder and climbing up the ladder is what you want your goal to be, and finding, you know, the new trend that Pokemon battlers might use that nobody really discovered before. I don't always like to put it first because it's obvious what you're doing. Some people, they don't even care about team preview. They already know what they're going to start. They're looking and picking out to see what your potential starters are and then just countering that. You know, they don't always look and see, okay, what's the concept of your team? Jellicent, that's weird. But I'm guessing a lot of the more astute players are. I'm going to go to leftovers, and water absorb is necessary to take in water type moves and heal from that, which is awesome. I'm also going to use recover, and Will-O-Wisp is sort of the idea behind my team. It's going off of an old strategy from back in the days, probably Gen 3, I think Will-O-Wisp came out. And the idea is having a team that burns people and, you know, sort of suppresses physical attacks while also sponging special attacks. And I'm going to try really hard to make this a balanced team. If I decide later on, the team I'm building now is going to be a balanced team. But if I decide later on this is better as a full defensive team, then I'll change it and provide the update with my next team building exercise. Also, you never know, Jellicent is NU. This could turn into something that might be more viable in lower tiers, because that's the reason why Jellicent is used in NU, RU, and UU pretty much. I'm also going to use Taunt. Taunt is necessary on Jellicent because, or Jellicent, however you want to pronounce it, because it breaks all stall pretty much. Toxapex can't do anything, Chansey can't do anything. Mega Sableye can use knockoff once, which is why we have to invest all the rest of our EVs in defense, because Jellicent can't take a knockoff. But it is really an awesome type. Ghost Water is one of my favorite typings, and ghost typing in general I think is going to become more and more viable, even though normal moves are not very common. Ghost as an attacking type is only really weak to dark and, you know, not effective at all against normal, which are not very common types, and can also easily be worked around with fighting type moves. Not this time, obviously. I'm not going to put any fighting type moves, hidden power fighting or anything on Jellicent, but it does need an attacking move, so I'm going to use Hex for the ghost type coverage, and, you know, hopefully when battling it'll force me to be more into what this team is made for, which is burning and spreading status. So I'm going to go up to about 201 speed and see if it's necessary. I might need, I mean, Mawile is really hard to work around, and having it burn and being immune to Sucker Punch is just really good. But 76 plus, and then we'll make it bold. I do want as much physical bulk as possible because, you know, if Jellicent for some reason can take a knockoff and loses it, but still is able to get healed back up with Recover and Water Absorb, all of a sudden it becomes a much better wall to Landorout-T, obviously Mega Sableye, things that knock off would be the only way it could really do anything to it. Now, now that I have my Jellicent set, the first thing I'm thinking about is what are going to cover defensively its weaknesses. Its weaknesses are Grass, Electric, and Dark. So one thing that counters all of those things, at least defensively, is Tepu Bulu, because it is a Grass Fairy type, so it doesn't really take much from any of those types. And also Jellicent is resistant to Poison, which it'll be able to absorb poison attacks from Tepu Bulu. Also, Tepu Bulu putting out grassy terrain helps me with terrain control, which is really great. And it also helps me with, in case I have to deal with Earthquake, which I do. I'll show you that later in the team. But again, my team is based around special defense and burning, and sponging special hits. So I have to use Assault Vest, Tepu Bulu. With Grassy Surge, typical Assault Vest Tepu Bulu has Horn Leech and Wood Hammer for extra power, has Super Power for coverage, and Nature's Power, or Nature's Madness, excuse me, for anything that it can hit, just to do some damage. And then I'm going to do 252 plus attack minus special, 252 speed for special D. Adamant. That's just for right now. In fact, why don't we go ahead and take a look at a sample set on Smogon. I believe it's a little, yeah, they have 144 speed. Can outpace Adamant, Choice Band, Tyranitar, and 2-hit KO Fable with Nature's Madness and Woodhammer. With special attack and okay, let's do this spread then. Just for I'm always open to ideas for new spreads. If we don't need 252 speed, then there's no point in doing it. So we could just copy and paste, and that'll be fine. Now, one of Tepu Bulu's greatest partners, and one partner that will probably help Jellicent a little bit, and vice versa, is Heatran. Again, Heatran has amazing special defense, amazing defensive stats in general, great typing, is immune to fire, which Tepu Bulu is weak against, and also takes care of, you know, a lot of things that I might normally have problems with, like Mega Scissor, Zapdos, completely shuts down Zapdos, also helps with Mawile, helps with opposing Tepu Bulu, and opposing grass types in general that might give the rest of my team problems. So I'm just going to go with regular specially defensive Heatran. This is going to be another copy and paste set from Smogon, and I'm going to have him be my Rocks user, and then I'm going to use Protect and Toxic, or excuse me, Protect and Will-O-Wisp. I do want to use Will-O-Wisp actually, instead of Toxic. And then I'm going to keep Protect for right now, simply because I need scouts for Z moves, or there's certain things like, for instance, Curium B that my team has like tons of trouble with, but Heatran can shut it down if Curium B doesn't have Earth Power. So in order for me to scout Earth Power, Protect is pretty necessary. that's just going to be for right now. I might change things, but right now I need rocks. I need something that can resist fire, that can handle a lot of the Tapus, and can handle like Sub-Zero Slammer, KB, or something, or some Life Orb KBs, something like that. Okay, so that really covers a lot of things. Actually, a couple Pokemon that I know it's not going to cover, and that might give me some trouble based on set wise, are Tapu Lele, which is super common. Tapu Koko, obviously the second most common Pokemon in Standard. So to counter both of those, as well as some other faster threats, like I know this seems like a really defensive team now, so I'm gonna try and again use special sponges and just release with just attack after attack with hazard control and simply just burning to reduce damage. Hopefully Guts users won't own me too bad, but I do have some plans for those too. So in order to deal with Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu, or Tapu Koko, other things like Mega Pinsir, I am going to use Magearna, AV Magearna, which is pretty amazing. I'm not gonna quite do a cookie cutter set, but it's going to be pretty similar. Oh, I guess we can do this. 252 special D. Okay. With Assault Vest. My second Assault Vest of the team. Very interesting. So yeah, we've got Will-O-Wisp, Assault Vest. So we're sponging a lot of stuff right now. Tapu Bulu puts up grassy terrain. So if Magearna has to take an Earthquake, it's halved. Heatran is there to take fire types. Jellicent is there to take fire type moves from both of them. But I still have a little bit of trouble with ground types. And then certain other things that like setup sweepers. I have some trouble with it. I mean, I have Heatran for things like Victini. Jellicent is there for something like Volcarona that doesn't have Giga Drain, or Victini also. And if Volcarona does have Giga Drain, I have Heatran, which pretty much shuts it down. Charizard, I still have a little trouble, but again, I have the combination of Bulu and Jellicent with grassy terrain. However, having a ground resist or a ground immune is pretty mandatory, and also I need a defogger. So quite simply, I came down to what do I need? Well, I thought I still could use a Mega, I still could use a Z move, and I want to use both of those so I have the most amount of hitting power I can, because right now my team is it's like bulky offense right now. So I thought about Mega Latios, excuse me, not Mega Latias, which just moved up to OU just in the last week. But I'm thinking probably Mega Latios with that's sort of a all-in attacker with Roost. Now I thought about using Defog on it too, but I'm actually going to use Landorout-T, which again is on every team. But I'll show you why in a sec. I was going to use Defog. Let's just put it on there for now, just to say, and then Draco Meteor, just to give you a sort of idea of my team building process. Draco Meteor and Psyshock. And no, we want to go as fast as possible. We want to tie Diancie in speed, and we want to be able to beat Kyurem B in speed. So we have a general revenge killer just in case we don't know what it is. And then we want to be able to hit as hard as possible. So we will go there for right now with Timid. Now the reason why I want Lando, a couple of reasons. One is Intimidate will help ease some prediction when it comes to like something that I don't like, that might be physical, but I might not quite know the set, like Tepu Bulu or something like that. So the defense drop is gonna be great. But also it can use defog and Z moves to some effect. Now I'm guessing that I'm going to be sort of powering through some grass types more often than flying types with this. That's not necessarily true. I have Volt Switch on Magearna, and I was thinking I could put instead of defog on Latios something like Ice Beam, or even something like Earthquake that'll help knock back Diancie. But right now I think Ice Beam is going to be a little bit more catered to what the kind of team that I need. Now Lando has so many options. It's very, very hard for me to actually do it, especially given the fact that I smoke weed all the time. So I'm sitting here like, okay, what am I going to do? I definitely want to use defog. I don't need another Rocks user, but I need a Z move. So do I go Rocknium Z? Do I go Flynium Z? Right now, Rocknium Z is better for me because it could be used after a Stone Edge. That is still a very effective attack off of a great attack stat by Landorus. But I'm definitely going to use Earthquake. And then the last moves are a little bit difficult. I could use Swords Dance for extra power and a Z move. I can use Knock Off or U-Turn, since I don't have anything like that yet. U-Turn would be great for pivoting, and it would form a Volturn core with Magearna. So this is kind of something that I'm going to play around with in the next week or two. And then if you guys, again, have any comments or anything, please feel free to leave them. If you have any advice, let me know. But I think before I let you guys go, I'm going to just make a decision and do Rocknium Z. You know, this will help. Actually, no, I'm going to change it. I'm going to do Flynium Z. Just because I know Flynium Z is going to take care of any like bulky grass type that might threaten Jellicent. So if I have to give up Tapu Bulu or Heatran or Magearna, whatever, like I still have that option to use Fly and take it down. And then I'm going to use this is tough. Swords Dance, Gravity, Knock Off, U-Turn. I think I'm going to use Knock Off just for right now, since I don't have a knockoff user, and then this will also leave me to be able to take Ice Beam with Latios. Now I do still have a little bit of trouble with Mega Diancie if it has something like Earth Power. I'm still gonna have a little bit of trouble with that because my closers would be Heatran, which can take an Earth Power, Magearna, which can and fight back with Iron Head, but yeah, I think that should be good enough, to be honest. And then Ice Beam I can use for other Landorus, because as if you don't have enough Landorus counters on my team already with Bulu, Jellicent. It's just because Landorus, you don't know what the set is going to be. Latios can very easily outpace anything that's not a Choice Scarf and Revenge Kill it. Now, this might change to Choice Scarf Latios because I definitely need better speed control. I don't have any priority moves. But when you look at the priority users in Standard, you're looking at Quick Attack from Mega Pinsir, which Magearna is pretty well going to take care of Mega Pinsir anyway. Even though it does have to take an Earthquake, you do have Tapu Bulu to ease that, and you do have 2 Ground Immunes and Landorus to sort of take back, you know, and knock it down with a Intimidate drop. That's still, Mega Diancie is still a little bit of a threat, but you know, we'll see how well we can do to work around it. My only other stall breaker is really Jellicent. So you know, I'm not really. It's more of like just again bulky offense, getting the damage where you can, and not letting them do things like set up rocks, set up stall moves, things like that. Mega Sableye, in that regard, does hurt this team, in which case I am better suited to use Rockney MZ because it does a little bit more damage than Supersonic Sky Strike. However, I do have Magearna and Flare Cannon to help take care of that. And then Tapu Bulu, obviously, to help do a little bit of extra damage to Sableye. But Magearna is really my Sableye counter. And yeah, I mean, you know, Bulu, again, based on the sets, might give this team a little bit of trouble depending on what I can plan for. Sorry, I was going to go back to priority moves. You're looking at Pinsir, you're looking at anything that's a setup sweeper that might need to be revenge killed, like Volcarona. I have Heatran. Victini, I have Landorus, Latias. You know, Jellicent is really good against the typical Z Celebrate Victini. That's a special type that has special type moves like Focus Blast and Searing Power and Stored Power. Tapu Koko, just like naturally fast Pokemon like Ash Greninja really only has, I mean, Tapu Bulu really takes care of Greninja pretty well. Water Shryukin, my whole team can pretty much take that except for Lando and Heatran. Obviously, Jellicent is immune to it. Bulu and Latios take minimal damage from it. And Bulu obviously takes minimal damage from anything save Gunk Shot that Ash Gren is going to come at you with. So unless Ash Gren has Gunk Shot and Dark Pulse, it's not going to be able to fight around my core of Jellicent and Tapu Bulu. And even if it does have both of those, it's very likely that it's wearing a Scarf or Specs or something like that. So anyway, here's my team. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to post this team on PokePaste, and I'm going to put that in the description. If you have any thoughts, advice, anything about this team, please feel free to leave a comment. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.